And as a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a bitch. Turn that off.
I wonder how much of an evil witch Kamala was behind the scenes to her staffers, because you already know for years you had people coming out saying they didn't like working for her, from California to the White House. Well, now you have black people coming out saying they were mistreated while working for current Queen Kamala. Yeah, you have headlines like this one. Black Kamala Harris staffers allege they face outright racial discrimination from campaign. No wonder why black staff and supporters had so much animosity towards us. They were being abused over there at the City Girl President's headquarters, but they were too weak to stand up for themselves, to the actual problem, so they redirected their nasty abusive behavior to other black people, mostly on social media and in their personal lives. Yeah, if you wonder where that evil demonic spirit was coming from, well, it was coming from the top. Now that the election is long over, these cowards finally want to say something about it. You got all these folks writing articles, having secret meetings, taking secret interviews, giving intel and exposing how Kamala treated them. And let me make this clear in my Kamala voice. They're the ones who created this monster, and now they're trying to low-key destroy the monster they created. Remember the first ones out the gate talking about we're going to have the first female president and the first black woman? And let me tell you, I don't think anybody should ever trust these idiots again. Nah, not after they ran around calling this Indian woman black. Even after Candace Owens exposed the fake black grandma, the fake black great grandma, the fake black aunties and uncles in Harlem that weren't even related to this scammer at all. Y'all knew all about this and still decided to gaslight us and tell us we better support her because she's black. The fact that y'all try to play us like that, I have zero respect for all of you. And I don't want you coming around telling us nothing about nothing. That goes for Angela Rye, Joy Reid, Tamika Mallory, Jamel Hill, Bakari Sellout, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, Charlamagne, Ricky Smiley, and especially you low-level rats like Roland Martin and Al Sharpton, literally hustling us, taking money from these people. $350,000, Roland Martin. $500,000, Al Sharpton. You lost all of what little credibility you had. It's over. And Democrats, if you ever want to win an election again, you're going to have to separate yourself from these shills. They are no longer effective. No one is listening to them. And whatever access, resources, or money you give them, it's like flushing cash down the toilet. They're no good. So now you have black Democrat shills, mostly black women behind the scenes. They're now coming out to reporters saying they were outright discriminated against for being black. Yeah, all this while working for their shero, the woman they called the first black this or that who's not even black at all. Now they're exposing mistreatment by their own leaders they chose for nothing other than their gender or skin color. They're saying these leaders inside their own ranks discriminated against them because they're black. That right there should tell you everything about Kamala Harris and who she really is. Y'all ran around caping for this non-black woman, calling her black, and now we found out her campaign treated you like trash, but y'all didn't want to tell nobody before because you didn't want her to lose? This is also proof that y'all are just as evil as she is. You're willing to dance with the devil in order to get an invite to the party. Y'all want to be at the Kamala Harris, Meg Thee Stallion, and Glorilla party so bad, you will not only disrespect other black people, but you're willing to take mistreatment and disrespect yourself just to have the opportunity to rub elbows with this lady. This is so silly. All of y'all should be ashamed of yourselves right now. Now, according to the New York Times, the post-election autopsy on the City Girl President Kamala Harris's failed campaign included a survey in which some of her black staff members complained of outright racial discrimination. Many of those staffers, in fact, felt that their ideas were ignored at a rate far higher than their peers. The story details an operation by some campaign staffers who ignored directives from the top and took matters into their own hands after feeling frustrated by the campaign's lack of sufficient effort to reach voters of color in Philadelphia. Many staff members felt that Philadelphia's racially diverse neighborhoods were ignored, adding that black campaign staff members and political operatives said campaign leadership dismissed concerns that Democrats were taking their base for granted. As the election drew closer, the frustration with campaign leadership on the issue reached a boiling point. That's according to more than 30 staffers interviewed by the Times. So yeah, they were behind the scenes kicking and yelling for attention, and at the same time coming to black folks on the grassroots to take all their anger out on. And guess who else was listed in the article? None other than crybaby Angela Stell Rybread. You know, this delusional foolish woman right here who lost every little bit of credibility she had just to fight for her curry queen Kamala.
This isn't that. That's not the point. All I'm saying is we can go off the cliff.
It is the point. It is absolutely the point.
Well, let me hear Andrew. Let me hear what you have to say, Andrew.
You can go off the cliff and never, ever get power again.
Now, the New York Times revealed that after Kamala the Cosplaying Chameleon's loss, Angela Rye pulled together all the black staffers so they can get on the call and complain. I don't know, maybe they had an Angela cry session, but at some point during their conversation, they shared their anger with Angela Rye, mainly about how the campaign treated them and how underfunded their field operations have been in several battleground states.
And has to be challenged. There are black staff who are part of the organizing community, part of canvassing, challenge paid canvassers, challenge whether or not this was the right tactic, said they didn't have the resources. Jasmine, who was the state director in Florida, Andrew, I sent you her her Twitter thread earlier. She goes in about how much they had to rely on outside resources because they couldn't get any resources from the campaign because the campaign had pretty much given up on Florida. The sad part is, y'all, that is not a Florida unique story. It is the story of every battleground state director, and that has to be discussed. They spent so much time and effort in ensuring that these large, rich, white consultants would keep their share, could even potentially get bonuses off of a loss, but wouldn't get these folks the dollars they needed to get signs on the ground, to get folks on the ground knocking on doors.
Some of these black staffers that Angela pulled together, they also whined about how Kamala didn't hire enough black people or enough Latinos. These 30 black staff members, they got on the call with the Times and told them campaign offices in Philadelphia were filthy and lacked basic supplies like chairs, cleaning products, and printers. Some campaign offices targeting predominantly black communities were moved to upscale areas far from the areas they were designed to serve. These black staffers went on to complain about outright racial discrimination. But get this, they were reportedly too afraid to leak these allegations to the press for fear of destroying their future job prospects. Okay, so why y'all talking now? Is it that you finally see the writing on the wall? Or did you accept the fact that you lost and you probably won't have another opportunity to be with a winning team for a while? Is that it? So Angela Rye and these black staffers, they said they had a call after the election. It was hosted by Quentin Fulks, one of the guys in upper management at the Kamala campaign. They claim Quentin told these staffers that talking to the media will hurt their careers. The Times reached out to a Harris campaign spokeswoman who denied that Quentin had, quote, used that language or tone on the call. She said that instead, Quentin counseled the staff members against saying something in a moment of anger that could come to hurt themselves or the vice president. So yeah, they like, y'all better get back in line and protect this cosplaying chameleon like Van Jones and Ben Crump told you to do.
Is protect her. We have to protect her.
This same article featured another Quentin James, the founder of the Collective PAC. Quentin said frantic staff members in Philadelphia, Detroit, and North Carolina called him in the final weeks of the race to say they didn't have enough money to provide food or water to volunteers. So they went around bragging about how they raised all this money, almost $1.5 billion, and they couldn't feed or give water to their volunteers, you know, the ones hitting the pavement, knocking the doors. The Times went on to write, still, Harris campaign leaders seemed in denial about the situation in Philadelphia. According to the paper, on election night, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the campaign chair, wrote an all-staff email saying that the Harris campaign had, quote, overperformed turnout expectations there in Pennsylvania, especially in areas with non-white voters. And side note, this is hilarious, by the way. You already know this one right here is a whole liar. Jen wouldn't take any accountability at all. She even tried to blame reporters and the media when they did nothing but give Kamala 95% to 100% positive coverage in the mainstream media, even though she hid from the media for 40 days and 40 nights. And when they finally started speaking to reporters, they only chose incompetent people or outright shills to give cover for Kamala. I'm talking about people who were just as incompetent as Kamala herself. Now, here's one who actually admitted what we already knew. Kellen White, a senior advisor to the Harris campaign in Pennsylvania, said this campaign did more in Philadelphia to reach Black and Latino voters than any campaign has done in a long time. Kellen said the issue is not that we didn't knock on these doors, we knocked on a ton of doors. The problem was the message itself didn't connect. And that's what we as a party need to spend our time and energy on, trying to understand why when we knocked these doors, what we had to say didn't resonate with enough voters. And there it is, that's the bottom line. You had no policies or no agenda that resonated with the people. For at least the first 60 days, y'all wanted us to pledge our vote for this woman because you told us she was Black. Then y'all spent a record billions with a B of campaign money and PAC money trying to program us to go along with whatever you wanted instead of giving the people what they wanted. It's very simple. But no, y'all made it hard trying to manipulate and deceive people. And guess what? It backfired on y'all big time. As for the Black staffers running around whining behind the scenes with Angela bitter stale rye bread, will they learn their lesson? Or will they come back out in a couple of years and run the same play again on us? It's very obvious they don't have these jobs to really represent or do anything for Black people. They have these jobs to enrich themselves. How do you know? Because they went around trying to convince Black people that the most important issue to us was termination rights. Like, are you crazy? So yeah, we already know they're compromised and they're willing to do anything to be in the sorority, the club, including being treated poorly and hazed. See, when you're that desperate for money and perceived power, you really can't be trusted by no one. And quiet as it's kept, that's why the DNC is treating them so bad. They literally witness how y'all treat your own people on behalf of them. And deep down, they don't have no respect for y'all not having a backbone and taking crumbs from them to disrespect and undermine the Black community. Yeah, they see all this. So no, I don't feel sorry for none of them. They haven't learned yet. They're just once again trying to use Black grievances to get their way. So no, get it off your own muscle and leave us out of it. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. So it's already been established there's no city girl with a higher rank than Kamala Harris. She's indeed the city girl president, and nobody's touching her. But you still have the woman I named the city girl mayor, Tiffany Tahoe, the super mayor, making headlines in Thornton Township, Illinois. If you missed my update on Tiffany last week, you want to first make sure you subscribe to my other channel. I'll leave the link below. And click the video that's coming up on the screen now.